Hey everybody, and welcome to another Rebel Show. I hope everybody's having a great week. I am, like I always say. So, I just wanted to stop for a second and thank all my viewers over all the platforms. The Rebel Show is small and it's starting to grow, and we're looking to grow the Rebel Show in different ways, get a website, branch out to different platforms and podcasting. Right now it's just Facebook, YouTube, and I'm looking at some other options. But, I get good feedback from people. A lot of it's in person or in text, or not a lot of comments. I'd like a little more comments if you guys want to comment on the shows on the different channels. But I just want to thank you guys for watching. In the country right now, we have it's a great opportunity for new voices to come out. There's a lot of strength in the conservative movement right now. And as these guys, unfortunately, we all age, right? As these guys age, there needs to be new faces in new places. And, there's a lot of room out there. We have the internet, so everybody can do anything from home anymore. And that's one of the powers of this, is I do this from my home right now. We're looking to branch out and get some ideas together, but, growth takes time and it takes the right timing. So we're not forcing anything, but we definitely are looking to grow and looking to increase the viewership and the stretch and even content. We want to make things bigger. And so I want to thank all viewers. You guys are awesome. Okay, so it sounds like from the news I've heard that the turnout for the primaries for the elections coming up had like some really good turnout, maybe even record turnout. I think that's awesome. Everybody, that went out and voted, I want to thank you all over the country. Either side, no matter what you did, stand up for what you believe. I'm conservative, but I say whatever you believe, stand up for it. Thank you for voting. It's good to have your voice out there. But today I want to talk about the return of religious freedoms. There's been, throughout the years, a lot of times where religion has been looked down upon, and the people that make the laws basically want to count religious people out or count religion out. And it's not the original intent of this country. One of the main reasons America was founded was the pursuit of freedom to worship as someone wanted to. Many people immigrated to what is now the United States because of harsh religious persecutions and rule in Europe. If people didn't conform to the statist system, you'd be persecuted and tortured until you believed what they said, or maybe they don't care what you believe. Torture is something that the modern society in America doesn't really have to deal with much. But across the world, it's still a tactic that's used a lot. Look at North Korea. There's a lot going on there. Many of the early colonists were subject to this torture, and they were maimed for standing for their beliefs they held dear. In America, one should be able to practice whatever religion they want to believe, from Hinduism to Mormonism to Christian, whatever. As long as you don't infringe on others' rights, you're encouraged to practice and be protected for what you believe. And we're starting to see religions be favored as this is valuable, and religions looked down upon, and that is completely wrong. That is not what the country is about. It's about freedom for all. As long as you're not saying, okay, we've got to destroy you because you don't believe what we believe, or we're going to beat you up, that's wrong. We can all believe different things, and our government is supposed to protect that. Once the deciding documents and agreements of all the colonies were in place, the original intent, the basis of the United States of America was on freedom, to give people the right to not be overly taxed without their consent, to be able to worship the way they wanted to. That's one of the important things to remember about the Declaration, is it was a declaration of independence against a king that was trying to bring a bunch of pressure and a bunch of unlawful rule to a bunch of colonists, and they just got tired of it, So they wrote the Declaration saying, hey, we declare our freedom. We're done. 4th of July is coming up, right? So these colonists got together, all the colonists of the different, and the leadership of the different states, they got together and said, we're done. We've tried, we've worked with you, we've sent letters, we've tried to negotiate, and you're a tyrant and you're not giving us anything. You're not giving any, reducing any pressure on us. We're done. We declare a separation from you, independence from you. And you know what? Then, after the declaration was sent, it was all out war. And, when the Constitution was wrote, the Constitution was basically, was like the declaration of like 27 grievances that they had against the king. They're like, these are the things you're doing wrong. We don't like this. We don't want to deal with this pressure. And the Constitution was a document that said, here's the solution to all these problems we've dealt with. Here's what we're going to put in place to not allow this to happen again, to not allow this type of thing to happen in our country, in this country. So the Declaration said, hey, we're free of this tyranny. And the Constitution said, and here's our solution to keep it from happening here. That's the basis of that. And that's why it's so important to remember that these documents are important, because they're a structure on how we're supposed to function. And we can't just throw them away or decide to not have them around. We can amend them all we want, but we can't just throw them out. It's important to keep these in place because it prevents a lot of tyranny that's happened in the past. The founders led the colonies into war. And there was war against suppressive British king who wanted to tax them, like I said, and he would use that tax money. You guys, I don't know if you know about the Stamp Act, but basically like all paper and all envelopes and basically any paper and stuff like that had to have a specific stamp on it, and that's the only legal paper to use. And that stamp, you had to pay like a tax on it, and that tax would go fund British wars across the country or whatever. And to tax people, not give them an option to say anything about it, that's wrong. And so these people were getting tired of it, And also, that king, the British king, also, he would dictate the belief system people are supposed to have, This is how you're going to be, and if you're not, we're suppressing you. This is how your government is going to function. This is how everything's going to work out. You do what I say. And the colonists were done with it, Disagreement was punishable. In this modern time, freedom to believe is fine unless you're a Christian. Christianity lately has been put under a lot of pressure, and they've tried to silence us, and that's not right. That's not why America was founded on the ability to have a free worship to whoever you wanted to. The full attack is on Christians. It's okay to attack a Christian, but if you speak up against anything else, you're all of a sudden, a phobe. If I say anything towards any other religion, I'm a phobe of that. That's wrong. I don't agree with that. It's great to have a resurgence in religious freedoms and protection. This president, President Trump, has been a true friend of the religious freedoms. He intentionally brought Christian religious leaders into his arena because he saw the unjust actions of the past administrations and attacks on people with the wrong beliefs. Whether he's a Christian or not, he looks and he sees how big the Christian community is, and he thought, man, these guys, I need to be allies with them because they've been treated wrong. And if that's his only reason, that's a pretty good reason. To see the people treated wrong, that's a pretty large group. Let's stand in with them, Like it or not, America was founded on religious, specifically Christian freedoms. The intent was to protect people in the beliefs they had. And man, we're getting away from protecting the government is getting away from protecting its citizens, us. The government is by the people, for the people, and we're getting away from that. So it's nice to see the Supreme Court decide for the Colorado baker, the Masterpiece Cake Shop owner, Jack Phillips. He stood up for his beliefs. And whether you agree with it or not, the courts came through for him. America came through for him. A team of people I know went up, and there were supposed to be 900 protesters, and there was very little. And people that were up there to support this guy 150 to 200 supporters did show up. They're standing up for what's right when it counts. It's the only way to keep our freedoms free is to stand up for them. And when anybody tries to take them away, we have to stop and say, no, this is the way it is. This is the law of the land. We have a right to do this. We have a right to stand this way. The Constitution can be amended, but it's a little bit tough to do. And that's good because these type of amendments need to take time, you know? They don't need to be something we do on the cuff, just off the cuff. You know, it needs to take a lot of time, a lot of negotiation, a lot of thought, and it needs to take the voice of the people. And that's why we elect people to go represent us, so that when situations come up that try to remove what God gave us, we can take it back and we can say no. Thank you very much.